If you weren't looking closely at the subtle, almost imperceptible shift in Serena Baldwin's eyes the moment Michael Corinthos turned his back at deception, you completely missed the real story that is unfolding right under our noses. Good morning, ladies, and welcome to another deep dive into the twisted minds of our favorite Port Charles residents. Grab your strongest cup of coffee, because today we are tearing apart a storyline that is masquerading as a romance, but is actually a dangerous deadlock waiting to snap shut. Everyone seems to be cheering for Serena as the shiny new beacon of hope for a lonely Michael, but if you ask me, that seemingly gentle smile is masking a psychological motive so dark it could shatter the Corinthos Empire. The writers are painting a picture of a sweet, empathetic savior arriving just in time to rescue a lost soul, but I am telling you, we are looking at a masterclass in manipulation. The unforeseen fallout from this pairing is going to leave a trail of shattered trust that no amount of money can fix. Are we really supposed to believe that Serena just happened to waltz into town, align herself with Lucy Coe, and immediately lock onto the wealthiest, most emotionally vulnerable heir in the city by mere coincidence? I don't buy it for a single second, and neither should you. Let us take a step back and analyze the current state of Michael Corinthos. If you ask me, the man is a walking target. He has recently been flexing his new power at deception, bonding with Tracy Quartermain over their shared disdain for Willow Kane, and navigating the confusing behavior of Jacinda Bracken, who is currently plotting independently to remove Willow from his life. Michael is emotionally exhausted, deeply cynical, and desperate for someone who simply understands him without any hidden agendas. This implies that his defenses are at an all-time low. He is practically broadcasting his vulnerability to anyone who knows how to read the signs. When a man like Michael, who controls vast fortunes and holds immense corporate power, feels isolated, he becomes the perfect prey for a predator who knows exactly how to play the role of a comforting confidant. Enter Serena Baldwin. She arrives in Port Charles ostensibly to help Lucy Coe in the fierce power struggle at Deception, immediately clashing with Brooke Lynn and Tracy Quartermain. But it looks like her corporate battles are merely a smokescreen. If you observe her interactions with Michael, you can see a highly calculated move taking shape. She does not challenge him the way Tracy does, nor does she bring the chaotic baggage that Willow or Jacinda carries. Instead, she presents herself as a calming, empathetic presence. She listens, she nods, she validates every single one of his grievances. Could it be that this is not genuine affection, but rather a meticulously crafted persona designed to disarm him? By positioning herself as the only person who truly gets him, she is subtly driving a wedge between Michael and his traditional support systems. This is a classic psychological motive. Isolate the target, become their sole source of emotional validation, and then take the reins. But just as Serena's trap is about to close, the writers seem to be preparing to throw a massive wrench into her plans. I am talking about the highly anticipated return of Sasha Gilmore Corbin. Now, on the surface, the town might assume that Sasha is simply returning to visit her child or to tie up some loose ends regarding her past. However, if you ask me, Sasha's arrival is the catalyst that will expose this entire charade. Sasha is someone who has been through the absolute ringer in Port Charles. She knows what it is like to be manipulated, she knows the dark side of corporate greed, and most importantly, she knows Michael Corinthos better than almost anyone. It looks like Sasha will be the only person in town who is not blinded by Serena's flawless facade. When Sasha observes Serena and Michael together, she is not going to see a beautiful blossoming romance. She is going to see red flags waving violently in the wind. This implies that Sasha might possess some hidden knowledge. Could it be that Sasha has crossed paths with Serena in the past? Or perhaps Sasha, with her sharp intuition, will simply recognize the subtle, predatory tactics Serena is employing. Whatever the trigger is, Sasha will quickly deduce that Serena has an ulterior motive. She will see that Serena is not at Deception just to support Lucy Coe, but to use the cosmetics company as a stepping stone to infiltrate the Quartermain and Corinthos fortunes. Sasha will recognize the calculated move to manipulate Michael into handing over the keys to his empire. Of course, exposing Serena will not be an easy task. If you ask me, the initial phase of Sasha's return will be incredibly frustrating for her, and for us viewers. When Sasha attempts to warn Michael, it looks like he will completely dismiss her concerns. He is already deeply entrenched in Serena's web, and Serena has likely already planted the seeds of doubt in his mind about other women. Michael will likely accuse Sasha of being jealous or of projecting her own past traumas onto his new relationship. This dismissal will result in a deeply shattered trust between Michael and Sasha. It is a brilliant psychological motive on Serena's part. By anticipating the backlash from Michael's exes, she ensures that any warnings are perceived as bitter jealousy rather than genuine concern. This brings us to the core of the mystery, and we need to divide our analysis into two distinct possibilities regarding Serena's true endgame. Let us look at Scenario A. In Scenario A, Serena is a highly intelligent, independent grifter operating entirely on her own. It looks like she identified Michael as the ultimate mark long before she even set foot in Port Charles. Under this scenario, her involvement in the deception power struggle was just a convenient excuse to get into the same social and corporate circles as the Quartermains. Her strategy is a slow, methodical, emotional takeover. She plans to make Michael so dependent on her counsel that he willingly signs over power of attorney, transfers massive assets, or appoints her to key positions within ELQ. If Scenario A plays out, the danger lies in how perfectly legal and willing the transfer of wealth will appear. Serena will not need to steal the money. She will manipulate Michael into giving it to her. This implies a level of sociopathic patience that makes her one of the most dangerous women to ever walk the streets of Port Charles. She will systematically alienate him from Tracy, from his mother Carly, and even from his children, ensuring that when the dust settles, she is the only one left standing beside the throne. The unforeseen fallout here would be Michael waking up one day to realize he has legally handed away his birthright to a woman who never loved him. But then there is Scenario B, which, if you ask me, is far more sinister and ties into the broader mysteries currently plaguing the town. In Scenario B, Serena is not acting alone. Could it be that she is the operative of a much larger shadow organization? We recently saw the arrival of Hudson, a mysterious corporate executive who is hunting down Ethan Lovett. What if Hudson and Serena are connected? This implies that Serena's ulterior motive is part of a massive corporate espionage plot aimed at hostile takeovers of both ELQ and Corinthos Coffee. Under this scenario, Serena is essentially a Trojan horse. If Scenario B is the truth, Serena's romance with Michael is nothing more than a calculated move to acquire insider information, passwords, and corporate secrets. She is feeding this intel back to her silent partners, preparing for a devastating financial strike that will cripple Michael's businesses overnight. The psychological motive here is purely transactional. She does not care about Michael's money for herself. She is a hired gun, a corporate mercenary using her charm as a weapon. This would explain her sudden alliance with Lucy Coe, as deception is merely the backdoor into the Quartermain network. Regardless of whether Scenario A or Scenario B is the reality, Sasha Gilmore Corbin is going to be the one forced to go rogue to uncover the truth. Since Michael refuses to listen, and the shattered trust between them prevents open communication, Sasha will have to become a detective. It looks like we are going to see Sasha sneaking around, hacking into laptops, and tracking Serena's secret movements. She will be looking for the undeniable proof, the hidden bank accounts, the secret burner phones, or the clandestine meetings with figures like Hudson. Sasha knows that she cannot approach Michael again without airtight evidence, because Serena has already convinced him that everyone else is the enemy. The tension is going to build to an absolute boiling point. If you ask me, the climax of this storyline will be a spectacular public confrontation. Imagine a lavish Quartermain gathering or a major deception press event. Michael is standing there, completely enamored with Serena, ready to make a massive announcement, perhaps a proposal, or a major corporate appointment for her. And right at that moment, Sasha walks in, armed with the documents, the text messages, and the undeniable proof of Serena's ulterior motive. The psychological motive behind Sasha choosing a public venue would be to corner Serena, preventing her from spinning lies in private to Michael. When the truth finally drops, the unforeseen fallout is going to be catastrophic for Michael's ego. Serena will undoubtedly try to deny it, perhaps crying and playing the victim, but the evidence will be too strong. The facade will crack, and the warm, empathetic woman Michael thought he knew will evaporate, revealing the cold, calculating manipulator underneath. The shattered trust will not just be between Michael and Serena, but within Michael himself. He will realize that his desperation for connection made him a blind fool, and that he almost sacrificed his family's legacy for an illusion. We also have to consider the emotional toll this entire ordeal will take on Sasha herself. Why is she willing to risk her own peace of mind and potentially face the wrath of the Quartermain family just to save a man who initially rejects her warnings? Um, I, if you ask me, this points to a deeply rooted, unresolved connection between Sasha and Michael. Despite their complicated history and the shattered trust from their past breakups, Sasha still harbors a profound protective instinct over him. Her psychological motive is not rooted in jealousy, but in genuine, unselfish care. She is willing to play the villain in Michael's eyes temporarily if it means saving him from a permanent disaster. This calculated move on Sasha's part proves that true loyalty does not always look like blind agreement. Sometimes it looks like tearing down a comfortable lie to expose a harsh truth. Serena might know how to stroke Michael's ego, but Sasha knows how to guard his life. So, where does this leave us in the grand chessboard of Port Charles? Will Michael wake up and smell the coffee before he signs away his soul, or will Serena manage to outmaneuver even Sasha's best investigative efforts? If you ask me, the writers are setting up a brutal, devastating awakening for Michael Corinthos. Serena Baldwin is not his happily ever after. She is a highly skilled financial predator, wearing a designer dress, executing a flawless long con. But you have to wonder, even if Sasha successfully saves him from this calculated move, will Michael ever be able to trust another woman again? The psychological damage might already be done, and the emotional scars from this level of intimate betrayal could alter his character's trajectory for the next decade. Keep your eyes peeled, ladies, because this supposed corporate romance is rapidly mutating into a high-stakes psychological thriller. I have a very strong feeling that the collateral damage is going to be immense, and not everyone is going to walk away from this collision with their fortunes or their hearts intact.